floating head over here. I'm going to answer a couple of iguana questions for you today. And look at that! Today we're going to find out what she's doing and why she's doing that. Hi, baby! Oh, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Who are you going to call? Ghostbusters! Yeah. Look at that. You're a sweetie angel. Love you, my honey. Love you. So let's find out why she does it and what is it. So hello there, one more time. Let's go ahead and answer a couple of questions about iguanas. How to be a good iguana parent? Is iguana a good pet for you? And are you good for an iguana? So first of all, let's answer a couple of common questions about iguanas. How does their skin feel? Well, just like the skin, okay? So it's leathery, it's scaly, it's not slimy. There is nothing slimy about it. It's not a slug. It's just like your skin, okay, just with scales, so it's a little bit tougher. And that's pretty much about that. So if you have never had a reptile, iguana's scales and iguana's skin feels just like your skin, just a little bit tougher and a little bit colder or hotter depending on where she lays. That's about that. Let's go to question number 2. Are iguanas aggressive? Good question. So actually the answer to this question is quite much more complicated than you would like it to be. Why? First of all, it depends on if you're having a female or a male. It depends on the season. Males tend to be more aggressive during the breeding season, okay? I have a female iguana, 2.5 years old. She had a surgery to remove her ovaries because she actually had the egg binding issue. Well, not binding really, they just did not come out of her ovaries ever. So that was incredibly sad. We had to remove the ovaries, and I will tell this story later, but obviously the hormonal levels changed. Before, she was the angel in existence. She was sleeping with me. She will come out of her enclosure, get to my bed, she will lay on my shoulder and will just sleep with me for like 3-4 more hours every single day. Now she prefers her space. She became much more territorial. She's like, I'm sorry lady, you're going over here? That hair, you ain't needing them anymore. Believe me, she bit off a piece of my hair a couple of days ago. It doesn't hurt, but it was just like, I was asking for it. Believe me, because I know this behavior. I know that at this point I'm annoying her, and she had her surgery in May, and right now it's August 2024. So it's been just a couple of months. She's not yet adjusted well to her hormonal changes. And for iguanas, we don't have hormonal replacement therapy, obviously. So she was pushed into a menopause, and there is nothing I can do about it. So obviously the change is large, it's difficult, complicated. With the males, they will experience territoriality, maybe even aggressiveness every single breeding season, which is in usually spring. Then you have to pay attention to it, right? It is not a cat, it is not a dog. So you have to research this question. I can make a separate video about specifically the breeding season, how to deal with that, how do they behave, how can you handle them. So are they generally aggressive through the year? No, they don't tend to be. Can they be? Yes, they can. It is not a cat, it is not a dog, it's a completely different animal, okay? You have to research their behaviors. They are very territorial. And when I say very, I mean very, okay? So, question number 3. Do iguanas change color? No, they do not. But yes, they do. What does that mean? Well, they will not change colors on cue, right? So they will not just go to a particular wall and be like, that's a nice wall, goddammit, let's change my colors. Like, it's not gonna happen. But they can change colors because of the breeding season. For example, they tend to become a little bit more orange during the breeding season. and they can go back to being more green. In my case, I have a green iguana, so she will become more typically green through the entire year. But for example, during her breeding season, she literally started acquiring like orange colors on her body. That was quite interesting. But it is like it's going gradually. It's not like one morning I woke up and there was like, oh, I've got an orange iguana. No. So that's point number one. Number two is the age. So when they become older, they also can become more orange or red. So that also comes with the age. So there is another color change that they can experience, and that's called going in blue, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later. Next question. Question number 4. Do iguanas bite? Again, depends on your iguana. Technically they can. I have in here, please focus. Will you focus? No, it will not. Well, you see like a tiny line. In reality, it's not a line, it's a bunch of dots. That was actually an accident. She was eating a berry from my hand and she was just like catching a berry and she got my finger. So it was an accident. But they have needle sharp teeth. And the thickness are also of a needle. So they go into your finger, hand, arm, leg, nose, whatever is closer. Kidding, they don't bite your face. Usually they don't try to do that mostly. Again, depends on the iguana, depends on the territoriality, and depends on how you have established your relationships, right? But my particular iguana, she did not bite me. She did not like whipped her tail on me, anything. She was a sweetheart for all this time. But if they bite, it bleeds. Because they have teeth, couple of millimeters. It could be like from 2.5 and longer, depending on the age of your iguana, obviously, and the size of your iguana. But if they bite, the bite is deep because the strength of these jaws is they're all right. But it doesn't really hurt. I'm gonna tell you, like, it's not like the bite, for example, of a dog when they like bite you and they actually try to drag it and it's like, what are you doing? And like you actually have flesh like coming off and stuff. Like that's not happening with iguanas. They literally they kind of bite and immediately let go. Like it's like looks like that, you know. It's split second and it's gone. And now you're bleeding there and you're like, okay then, charming. So yeah, so they can bite. You can do some training with them. If you wish, I can make a separate video on the training. My iguana is potty trained. She knows her name. She knows the command stop. And she knows a couple of commands that I need her to know. So we have established these relationships. I can make a video separate on how to train your iguana, how to train a dragon, and stuff like that. So question number 5. What makes an iguana happy? Actually, I'm getting high. No, going up, okay? They need vertical spaces, okay? And a lot of them. For example, my house is split into 2 levels. So I have the level for like my dog, which is on the floor, and I have a level for my iguana, which is her enclosure. Then on the top of her enclosure, so in her enclosure she has 3 levels, like the bottom, then the middle, where she has like 2 places where she can sleep, and then the top, where on the top she also lays because she's free roaming. She can go outside of her enclosure anytime she wishes. And then she was not free roaming as a baby. We learned it through time. But then there's the top of the enclosure where she lays, where she has her, like, you know, sun, you know, artificial sun and everything. She has her food bowl there. Then she has a bridge that crosses the one of the ribs, right? And this bridge goes onto the top of other like actually stuff, and then I actually had to put the padding on it too, right? Because she actually loves laying on something that is like that has some structure but at the same time is more or less soft. So yeah, she has a bridge to the next point, which is also vertical, so it's about like 2 meters from the ground, so it's like about 6 feet up. And so like she lays there, and then she has from there she has multiple shelving units, right? So it's shelves which are pretty long, right? So they're like real long, and they're pretty wide. So Like she could lay there, and there are 3 of these shelves, and she can climb on them, right? And they're above even this place, above this bridge where she is. So she can go anywhere on this top, and then she, from her enclosure, she can go a little bit lower where there is a wardrobe part where she can also lay. She had other places where she could go, but she figured out how she could like misuse them, let's call it this way. So actually, like, I closed them, so she will not go there anymore, like, because they can climb walls, they can climb, for example, your clothes, they can climb curtains, they can jump 1.5-2 meters like up. You have no idea. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff you have to maintain. Yeah, but to make them happy, you have to give them the opportunity to climb up, okay, to explore. She also goes down, okay, because she is potty trained to go to the loo. She goes to the bathroom, into the shower. So initially she actually had the special place next to her enclosure with like a wooden block, right, and a puppy bed on top of it where she will go and do her business. But then she actually grew out of it and she stopped feeling comfortable, and on her own she decided that shower is good for her. And I was like, don't you think it's a little bit too far to walk? Do you want to walk every single time? I could just build you something larger if you wish, right? She was like, no mate, I'm fine, and she just decided to go like a little bit further to the to the lavatory. Works for me. But I personally built her a special place outside of her enclosure to go to the lavatory. Iguanas prefer to poop above water. So for example, if you have some kind of a large water ball or something, there is a huge chance they're gonna go there because they're actually very clean pets, and that's what they're trying to do. So she goes in the bathroom every single time, never missed a cue. Incredible. So they strive on routines. They love routines. She wakes up at her own time every single day. She has her lights on, her food on. I give her berries. I take her to the toilet. Like in the morning, she loves when I carry her. Like she can go on her own, but she comes to me and like carry me like a princess. And I do. So yeah, why not? I love it. It's like a bonding experience. But routines make them happy. They love to understand that everything is going to go exactly how it's supposed to go. Like a little bit of razzle dazzle, it's not what they love. Okay? And they're going to show you that. They're going to throw tantrums. If you wish, I can make a video about tantrums. I had to deal with quite a couple of them. Not quite, just a couple of them. The worst one was when I went to a cat cafe to check out if I want a cat and stuff like that. I learned no, cats and iguanas do not work. I did not get a cat. But I went to check. When I came back home, it was the first time when I smelled of a cat. She smelled me like iguanas smell with their tongues, so she was like tongue flicking for like 5 entire minutes. After that, she turned away, climbed in the toppest, darkest, like highest, furthest point of my house, behind the air conditioning unit where she knows I can't physically get her. And I had to call a friend to help me get her because I had to climb the ladder up and then like hover over like on half of my stomach, right, to like move the unit, AC unit, with another hand get her. And so if I fall, somebody has to catch her. Like I don't care if I die, like as long as she's okay. But I needed help and I knew that I can't do it on my own. So actually she never climbed behind it, but she could climb on the top of the place where the unit actually is located. But because of this situation, I had to completely close the access for her to this point, so she will never be able to climb there again because this situation was horrendous. She could climb out of there, but I don't know if she they could be very not just assertive, but how would I put it? Headstrong. Like I will give you some examples. Like when she got her eggs for the first time, right, during the breeding season, females will get eggs. They don't have to be pregnant. They don't have to be fertilized, but they will get pregnant. So when she decided to jump on the top of the kitchen, she will go to the kitchen, jump there. Like, I will catch her so she wouldn't fall. Sometimes I will let her just slide, but catch her and then she wouldn't hurt herself. But every time I will tell her that she shall not go there, like stop, I will move her to another place. She will do it 40 times in a row. 40. 40. Nothing will stop her for 2 goddamn months. How do you do that? Nothing can stop her. Look, I swear to God. So yeah, so that could be like challenging. But yeah, if you want to make her your iguana happy, give them routines. Establish these routines. They're the same every single day. You wake up at the same time. You turn on the lamps at the same time. You have the food in the same place, like every single time. So they love it. You go to sleep every single time. She goes to sleep at 10:30 p.m. I turn off the lights. She goes to sleep and everything. If I need anything else, I do it on my own, right? If I have another place, but if I need to use the place where she is, I never turn on the lights. I never do anything. She lives her life. Like, I chose to have her. She deserves her stability. Okay? So, therefore, she gets it. And these routines help us a lot. Okay? So, that's about happiness. Question number 6. How do you understand them? Can you actually read an iguana? Can they ask for something? Yeah, they can. So you have to look in the eyes. Because if you look at their pupil, they will start what is called pinning. Is going small, large, small, large. So that's how we communicate. For example, I can ask her a question. For example, do you want berries? And I just look very carefully in her eye. If she wants, she will pin her eye. That's ridiculous. That's incredible. But she does it every single time. So if she doesn't pin her eye, I know she doesn't want it. And for example, if I will try to give her some berries or leaves or something, she will not eat them. So sometimes I will ask her, like, do you want to go poopy? You know? And for example, sometimes she will look at me and like just pin her eye. Okay then, sounds great. So they will not give you like responses like a dog will, like waggling their tail, screaming all over the place. Like, no, that's not gonna happen. But you could look in their eye. So, and you can find your answer. So there are more options, there are more things, but I will make a separate video about that. So, number 7. How to trim their nails. Very important. I saw absolutely horrendous images on the internet, so I want to actually acknowledge it. So there is an iguana nail, I'll put it on the screen, and there is a little black tip, and at some point the white line starts. You cut where this white line starts, so over here at this point. This is where you cut, just a tiny black tip. You never cut above it. Okay? You will hurt your iguana if you cut above it. You will have scratches, so you will see on my arms, yeah. I've got scratches and these are the good ones, okay? Like I'll have worse, like for example in here, I have over here, in here, I've got a bunch over here and I've got all over here. That's okay. These are not scratches like cats make, okay? These are not aggressive scratches. But when they move, they're gonna move with their arms and legs, right? Their little footsies. And they're gonna scratch you. That's alright. For me, absolutely doesn't bother me. Absolutely, like, it's nothing, it's just a scratch, nothing's gonna happen to you. But you're gonna have scratches all over your arms. Like if you handle them, like in here. I'm showing it to the camera. Come on. Where is it? Here. So you can see there is a scratch. So it's not large. It's nothing serious. Jesus Christ, it's just a scratch. But you're gonna have them. It's okay. You're gonna live like that now. It's your life. But you will have to trim their nails, because if you don't, the tips first of all become uncomfortable for them. Second of all, the tips become sharp, so you want to trim the nails, but never, like I saw horror pictures, like when the nail is trimmed completely, it's incredibly painful for them, and it's just, this is animal abuse, don't do that, okay? Just the tips, just the tiny black little tips. So, and number 8, shedding. So that's an interesting point. Iguanas shed, they shed quite a bit. You have to support a very high humidity for them. I personally have decent humidity here, but I give her showers every single day, 2-3 times a day. Okay, so every time she goes to poop, I give her shower. Like the morning shower can take like 20-30 minutes, but like the following showers will be a little bit shorter, like, and she chooses how long she wants to. So for example, if she wants to stay in the shower for an hour, enjoy it, girl. But if she doesn't, she can just walk out of the shower. It's okay. So, but I always give her showers. It's necessary for it's a necessity for them. You don't want to stack sheds. It can be a problem. But when they go in shed, you will notice that their skin actually goes into blue. Their skin becomes much whiter, and that's quite interesting. So because the skin separates, there would be some kind of liquid barrier between the separated skin and the new skin which is actually connected to their body, and so they will look very, very white, or as they call, actually it's called in snakes blue because of their eyes go and look blue. In iguanas their eyes don't shed, so you will not see the change in their beautiful orange eyes, but here you will see the changes in the skin. But the most important change for you will be the behavioral change. You can imagine shedding in iguanas as period in your girlfriend. So if you're a female, you know what a period means. You know how it feels. No bueno. Never pleasant. Neither it is for like reptiles. They become cranky, they may become a little bit more territorial, and if you have an aggressive pet, they may become a little bit more aggressive, right? They become a little bit more snappy. That's alright. Just give them their space, give them their treats. Okay, just like you would give to a woman, right? Some chocolate. Don't give chocolate to iguanas. Give them their like berries or whatever they like to eat, right? So yeah, so you will notice behavioral changes after they shed. It will take some time, everything's going to be fine, and they don't shed in one piece like snakes do, they shed in flakes, okay? Never tug on the skin, it shall come off on its own. Like you can help a little bit if it's already coming off, but never tug on it, okay? No, so you wouldn't hurt them. So these were some of the questions. So you may ask yourself, therefore, am I good for an iguana, right? After knowing some of these things. You have to have the resilience, the ability to train them, and the understanding that, for example, to bond with them is going to take like the first year to just bond with them. Then you're going to have a strong bond. They're going to love you in their way how reptiles love. And the way reptiles love is trust. Okay? So they're going to trust you, they can come to you, they can accept something from you. But you will have to establish this trust, and it's like for a year. Every single day you will have to work on it. You can't skip them. Okay, you can't like be like, oh, maybe it will work on its own. It will not. You will have to work on it. They live for 25 years. Do you have these 25 years? Please don't abandon your reptile just like you will not abandon any other pet. No bueno. Okay? So think about that, because traveling will be hard. Because right now, for example, I have not been able to travel for a long time because I have 4 snakes, 2 badgers, a dog, and an iguana. Crazy, goddammit, who created pandemic? But now, when I have had them for multiple years, like I figured out how to travel with them. I figured out what I can do, right? And I figured out some friends who can help me, for example, who stay with them, like who I can live with them, and all of them, apart from snakes, of course, are free roaming, right? Like when birds are free roaming, obviously the dog, the iguana, right? But like, for example, with the snakes, it's difficult because like it's difficult to tell like a person like, could you feed this ginormous rat to my snake? And it's like, I can't. It's not like dog or cat kibble. I can't do that. Most of the people, they are not like, they can't do that. They can't see that, they can't stomach that. Like for me, it's cute because my pet is eating and I'm happy that they are, getting powers, getting energy. It's tasty for them. For me, the rat smells stinky. Ooh, stinky bastards, horrible. But for the others, like, it looks horrible. But for me, it's like, just imagine it's chicken, and for many it works, right? It's like, and they ask, well, then why don't you just feed them chicken? And it's like, mate, so chicken works for you, but not rats. Funny. So yeah, but anyways, so I figured out how I can leave the, like, for example, the snakes, like, I can ask some of my friends live in this apartment, right? Or like in the house, right? And for the birds, I can ask, right? I can either give my birds to like some friend also, or I can ask another friend, like, or the same friend, like, live in the house, right? And take care of the birds and the snakes, because birds don't need much of anything. They are very, like, well taught. They know how to take care of themselves. But for example, with the dog, again, I have friends who I can give a dog to, right? And she will be all right. She may miss me, but she'll be fine. But with Potato, with my sweet iguana, that's a different story. Like, if you want to travel with her or without her, you may come back to a tantrum, because she will miss you. But instead of saying like, oh, I miss you so much, she will tell you, I will shit on your pillow for the upcoming week. You will remember how to leave me alone for the next 30 years. So she may not like it. She may stop eating with the other person. She may not trust them. She may not come out of the bed, of bed. So there are a lot of different things. So for example, for me, if I travel somewhere, I may leave my snakes, birds and dog with someone, but I would rather take my iguana. Like, I will go by car. So before I would just like take a plane very fast, but now, especially like Europe is quite small, so I can just take like a car, right? Because in car I have like the ability to control the temperature, right? And I traveled already with her, like for short distances, for just a couple of hours. So for example, like at the back of the car, right, I will put the towels and everything, right? I will put her there, and she will just lay there. She's all right. She's pretty much looking at the cars passing by and stuff like that. She's enjoying the views, enjoying this, like, the sky and everything. And yeah, and at some point she can like just fall asleep. But you have to travel with the headlamp, right? The artificial sun. You have to ensure that you have the food, because the alimentation also is very interesting. And just like I told you about the routine, food is also the routine. I give her some particular food that she likes. If I can't give her this food, I try to give her something else, she does not want to eat it. She would rather starve than eat something else. So if you travel somewhere and you will have something else, there's a chance that it will take them a little bit to get used to it. So yeah, this situation. So you have to think, like, if you're getting an iguana, it's like you're getting it, like, not just a pet, you're getting the responsibility for all your life. It's a lot of money, and if they have physical, like, any, like, health issues, it will cost you an arm and a leg. Like, I will again make a video about the surgery. Like, yeah, it costs more than 1,000 euros, and you have to provide food for them. And I was tracking my finances, checking out how much I spent, and I was like, oh damn, like, I eat a lot. And then I started separating how much I spend on my pets and how much I spend on myself. And apparently it's not me who is eating a lot. I spend more on my iguana food than I spend on my food every single day. So I spend on iguana more than I spend on a human. So that's quite interesting to understand. Of course, everybody cares different about their pets, right? For their pets. So for you, it may be a little bit of a different experience, but how I care about my pets and for my pets, and I provide them the best life they deserve. Not only the best life I can give them, but what they actually need. And therefore, there is a lot of involvement. But yeah, it can get real, complicated really fast. And they are giant lizards. By giant, I mean 6 feet. Okay? So 6 feet, 2 meters, okay? So you're gonna have a very big creature on your hands. I specifically wanted a giant lizard since I was 4 years old. So I knew that I didn't want like a tiny little bit thing. Like, no, I wanted a giant thing. So when I got one, I was happy. Will you be? So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me and I will gladly answer them and help you maybe choose the correct pet for you, the correct iguana for you, because there are different types of iguanas. And if you have any questions about iguana care, feel free to ask me and I will gladly answer. Thank you so very much for watching. Take care, stay safe, and hopefully see you next time. Ciao! I wanted to add 2 brain cells, I swear to God. Why did Pazuzu, my iguana, was head bobbing in the beginning of the video? Well, that's because she was on the top. When your iguanas are very high above the ground, they're going to be, well, above, not the ground, above you, coaches. When they're above you, they're gonna be asserting dominance, okay? And they're gonna be doing that hard. So be careful with that. When you're establishing the positioning of the enclosure, think a little bit about that. Like when it's exactly on your face level, I don't really recommend that, either a little bit lower or a little bit higher. Because when her enclosure, like the top of her enclosure where she lays, was exactly at the level of my face, it was a little bit dangerous. Because like if she runs towards me, like it's intimidating when a 6 feet lizard, well she's not 6 feet, she's about 5 feet, runs towards you, you feel that. So she will not actually attack me or bite me or tail whip me, nothing like that. But she will run towards me. Like it's that she will like headbutt me, like, or she like will jump on me. Like literally, she will just jump. And it's like, I will just carry her and be like, okay then, I've got an iguana now in my hands. What are we doing with that? Where are we going? So, but that will happen. But if she's a little bit above, she would rather just like stare at you from the top and be like, what you doing here? What you doing here? If she's a bit lower, she will be like, do I want it? Like, it's pretty large. This thing is pretty large. Maybe I don't want it. If it's exactly at the level of your face, that's your face you're talking about. It's okay if your arms are scratched. It's okay if your legs are scratched. Face, don't recommend that much, okay? For obvious reasons. So be a little bit aware of that, okay? Again, I'm telling about that not because there is aggression, but because aggression can possibly happen. And for example, I have a friend who has an aggressive iguana, and they are, their relationship with their iguana is not very cash money. So, like, they have to establish a lot of different rules. With Pazuzu, for me, everything is awesome, so I really don't have to be bothered at all. For them, it's much more difficult, so I want you to be prepared for any outcome. For me, for example, I know that with Pazuzu I don't have to be worried. I'm aware of the things. I have to respect her, because if I don't, she will show me what she thinks about it, okay? So yeah, know that if your iguana is higher in position than you are, she will assert dominance.